Hey, you guys ready?
I lost Gwen. She was my MJ. I couldn't save her. I'm never gonna be able to forgive myself for that. But I carried on and tried to keep going, tried to keep being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, because I know that's what she would have wanted, but at some point I stopped pulling my punches. I got rageful. I got bitter.
And there will be dark days ahead of us too. There will be days where you feel all alone. And that's when hope is needed most. No matter how buried it gets, or how lost you feel, you must promise me that you will hold on to hope. Keep it alive. We have to be greater than ourselves. My wish for you is to become. You can do that. And even if you fail, what better ways than
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay?
Doug.
Man, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. All right. Okay.
Hit the lights, please. Isaiah, did the sound better this time around?
Yes.
Yeah, we did some little adjustments and whatnot, so hopefully it was better. So good. Very good. All right, here we go. Spider-Man. Spider-Man first appeared in Amazing Fantasy, excuse me, not Amazing Comics. I got Action Comics mixed up with Amazing Fantasy. Amazing Fantasy number 15 in 1962. Created by the famous superhero creator, does anyone know? Stan Lee. Very close. Stan Lee. Stan Lee created Spider-Man unique because he was a teenager. Up to that time, superheroes were adults. They were men, typically. Wonder Woman was an adult woman. This is the first teenage superhero who had normal teenage problems. He had blunders, he had mistakes, he had financial problems. His identity was secret. When he was by himself, when he was himself as Peter Parker, he was kind of a loser. He was a nerd. People picked on him at school. But when he was Spider-Man, he was the hero. He was an outcast for the most part. And because of this, the publishers said what to Spider-Man?
It's stupid.
And they said no. They said, no, that's dumb. We're not gonna have a superhero with teenage problems. We're not gonna have a superhero with financial problems, with girlfriend problems, with school problems. It doesn't make sense. Superheroes are supposed to be bigger than life. They're not supposed to be normal. And Stan Lee said, no, let's just try it. Let's just try it. In 1962, he said, just give me one issue. Give me one issue. It wasn't even a Spider-Man comic. It was called Amazing Fantasy. And so they introduced this spider-like Spider-Man character. And was it a success or a failure? Huge success. Huge. People loved it. They couldn't keep Amazing Fantasy number 15 on the shelves. So then a year later, they came out with Spider-Man's what? His own comic book. Spider-Man number 1. Yes, sir.
Actually, they were on the company that Stanley was working for was actually on the verge of going bankrupt.
Bankruptcy. Sure, right.
And the
Yeah.
last paper they pushed Spider-Man in,
Uh-huh.
and that's actually how we got popped.
That may be, I don't know if the timeline quite lines up, but I think you're pretty close to being right, if not completely right. Because Marvel, I think, has faced bankruptcy more than once. And you're right, when the comic books, it was just the comic books, they were in trouble. Do you know what group of superheroes saved Marvel in the 90s? Does anyone know?
DC.
No, a group of superheroes. They were characters. Does anyone know? X-Men.
You said
X-Men. Yeah, a group of superheroes. Yeah. Which they were very unique too, because they weren't like your Spider-Mans or your Supermans. They were mutants. They had a genetic disorder basically, which gave them these super abilities. But we're not talking about X-Men today, are we? We should do one on X-Men. I think it'd be a lot of fun, actually. Get out of here, Logan. Iron Man would be fun. Yes, sir?
You do X-Men?
Yeah.
You should do like the dudes like the laser
Cyclops?
Cyclops.
Yeah. I could do like the whole team, the original team.
I also think I would really like this
should do
like
Magneto.
on Spider-Man, and I used to be like a Spider-Man nerd.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay. Okay, I like it. Well, is Spider-Man your favorite superhero? Out of all of them, would you say?
Marvel, yeah.
Out of the Marvel superheroes? Cool. All right.
Question, Rodney.
Okay. Yes, sir?
Are you gonna do the Joker?
No, I touched on the Joker with the Batman one and the Joker's origins already, so I probably won't do the Joker standalone.
You should do Magneto.
Didn't even do the Joker.
Well, not as a standalone, but I talked about him. Do you remember the book that the Joker originated out of? You remember?
Isn't it called The Laughing Man?
The Man Who Laughs. Yeah. Is that what you're gonna say, Evan? Yeah. Yeah.
We could still do it because we only talked about him a little bit.
I mean, you're not wrong. We could. But Junior's been asking for Sonic for months. Months. Is that what you're gonna say, Junior? Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Yes, sir.
You should do like a bin, like or something, where we write the request.
And then pull one
Yeah,
out.
like you know how you like had questions. That's right.
Yeah.
Questions. We should
Yeah.
make it super creative.
That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. I like that.
Or no, look, do another real thing, but with like.
With the topic with the superheroes.
But make sure
Yeah.
you put Joker on there.
Okay.
Make sure you put
It's real big.
Yeah.
Okay.
70% chance that
I'll think about it. All right, let me get on with the lesson. I appreciate the input. Let me get on with the lesson. It's pretty funny. All right, so originally the publishers said no to Spider-Man because he wasn't supposed to be normal. He wasn't supposed to have normal problems. But Stan Lee said, just give me one episode, put him in Amazing Fantasy number 15, instant hit, huge hit. The next year, in 1963, came out with Spider-Man number 1, and it sold for a whopping 12 cents per issue. 12 cents per issue. Today, fast forward from the early 60s to today, when looking at toys, looking at movies, shows, clothes, toothpaste, I mean, just you name it, Spider-Man is the most profitable superhero by far. The next one after him is, I believe, Batman, and then Superman. As far as not popularity, but profitability. That's why there's been such a fight between the rights of Spider-Man does anyone know what two companies who actually owns the rights to Spider-Man? Does anyone know?
Marvel.
No? You'd think they'd, huh?
Warner Bros.
Nope. Well, close. Nope. Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. They bought Spider-Man, I think it may be in my notes. They bought Spider-Man in the early 2000s. Oh, I got it right here. I could just read my notes. That might be better to do. Yes, sir?
I like your outfit.
Thank you. You guys notice my Spider-Man outfit today? You know what, doggone you? You get a piece of candy for that. I did. Golly.
Yeah, I like
complimenting my outfit?
Yeah, I like
Golly.
shoes fire.
Yeah, you get a piece of candy.
Hey, them shoes fire. Hey, right here, them shoes fire.
Golly. All right, here we go. For years, Sony and Marvel had not fought over, but tried to buy back the rights to Spider-Man because they knew there was potential profit. Now, Sony purchased the rights to Spider-Man in 1999 for $7 million. Okay? So in 99, Sony said to Marvel, I think Marvel, that was one of the times when they were in trouble financially, I believe. So they said, all right, you can have the rights to not just Spider-Man, but all the characters in the Spider-Man universe. So like Doc Ock and the Vulture and Mysterio. I mean, you name it. Venom, for example. Venom, have you noticed like the Venom movies, they're not like the Marvel movies? I know they're becoming crossing over, but like the original Venom, it's not a Marvel movie. It's a Sony produced movie. Isn't that interesting? Because in 1999, Sony bought the rights to Spider-Man, the Spider-Man universe, for $7 million. Today, Spider-Man is worth billions of dollars. 6.4 billion in movies alone, and that's even before the newest Spider-Man movies and the animated Miles Morales series came out. Yes, sir?
There's Sony come out with the PS3, which the PS3 produced Spider-Man games.
Yeah. Didn't they come out with a Spider-Man VR?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that was part of that, because Sony obviously owns that. Yes, sir?
There's actually a movie that created into the Spider-Man universe. I can't remember its author. It's practically a vampire that's like,
Morbius.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a Sony-owned property. That's why it doesn't look like Marvel. It's a Sony thing. Okay? The first 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Andrew Garfield, those were produced by Sony. Then there were some deals that were worked out between Sony and Marvel, and then Spider-Man was able to re-enter the Marvel universe. And who remembers the Avengers movie? What was it called that Spider-Man came into?
Endgame.
Nope.
Endgame.
Civil War.
So is that what you're gonna say? Civil War, right? So it was Civil War, but he was in Endgame, and he was in, what was the one right before Endgame? What was it? Infinity War. Thank you. But he came out first in Civil War, right? Very good. And that was because Marvel and Sony they don't own the rights to Spider-Man, but they made a deal where they could use him in their own company, which is wild because Marvel invented him. Isn't that weird? They had to buy the rights back for just a movie. Anyway, I don't know how much it was, but that's what they did. Okay, where are we at here? All right, let's talk a little bit about Spider-Man's history, his fictional history. He was a teenager. He was in high school. And a radioactive spider bit him. And it gave him spider-like powers. He got super strength, stamina. He was able to cling to walls. I really appreciated the first Tobey Maguire movie. They actually show like a close-up of the little hooky things, you know? That I really appreciated that, because I always wondered how that worked. Yes, sir?
Was he working in a lab for that?
He was, why was he working in a lab? See, I get mixed up with the comics and the movies.
No.
He was visiting a lab. It was like a field trip in the movies. Junior?
Didn't that also happen in the Across the Spider-Verse movie?
I think so. Yeah, probably. Isaiah?
In the original Spider-Man movies,
With Tobey Maguire, you mean?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
he was a photographer.
Right. He was a high schooler,
He was
though.
like, I'm pretty sure he was like photographing in a lab.
Yeah. But I remember other high schoolers being there with him.
Yeah, he was photographing.
Yeah.
He was taking.
Yeah, he was
Right on. That makes sense. Right on. So he had cling to walls. He had superhuman agility, reflexes, and this thing called a spider sense. Have you ever like tried to swat a fly just like with your hand? Does it work very well?
No.
No. There's something weird where like it's almost like these flies, they like know we're gonna get them. That's why we have to use like fly swatters. And spiders, I don't know if they got it or not, but supposedly how Stan Lee envisioned that was the human could sense when something was going to happen. Again, in the Tobey Maguire movies, they really did a good job with that. Like he'd kind of like freeze for a minute, like something was happening.
Like before the bully punched him.
Yeah, that's a good example. When he first saw it, and he had like super
And it went
quick
through the
reflexes.
fly, bit
Yep.
ball,
Yep.
you know,
And then when Doc Ock threw that car through the window, he knew it was coming or whatever.
No, it was in the school scene. It was.
Next time you do Spider-Man,
Uh-huh.
you should show like that scene, like Eddie Brock and him, like in the school where he, like
yeah.
time just freezes.
Right. That is pretty good. I do like that scene. All right, this is not on my notes, but pop quiz real quick. This isn't for candy or anything. What bad guy does not set off Spider-Man's spider sense?
Is it Green Goblin?
Go ahead, JJ. Nope.
Mysterio.
Nope.
Joker.
No.
Joker's not in the Marvel universe.
Caden, I appreciate you. You just try. You just like, I'm just gonna say this. Yeah. You know, Isaiah? Venom. Any symbiote, any of like Carnage, Venom, they don't set off his spider sense. I don't remember why, but that's just the thing. Yes, sir? Oh, Doc Ock? No, it's Venom. Venom. And any symbiote, like Carnage. And there's also Shrieker. There's another one. I can't remember the other symbiotes. But anyway, okay. Some weaknesses that Spider-Man has. Some weaknesses. Too much water.
Oh, what?
Too much water. It messes with his wall cleaning ability. I mean, sometimes if there's a spider in your bathroom sink, what do you typically will do maybe? Just wash them down with water, you know? So for example, too much water, it messes with his cleaning ability. Also in the comics, he has, his webbing is mechanical, like he makes it. And I remember when I watched the first Tobey Maguire and it was organic, like coming out, I was actually upset about that. I was like, nowhere in the comics has that ever happened. And so they took way too much liberty for that. But now they have in the comics since then. Yes, sir?
So when the dude turns into a lizard and the lizard goes into like the cage with pillars and everything or something like that and there's water, that's why you can climb up the walls or something like that?
I don't remember what you're talking about, what scene or whatever, but yeah, too much water, he can't, it weakens him. He can't move around as well.
Wait, so what happens if he drinks too much water?
If he drinks too much water, then he's all sloshy. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's not like a kryptonite, it's just like a physical thing. Certain villains disrupt his spider sense. We already talked about that. Venom, any symbiote. You know what a symbiote is? You know what I mean when I say that? It's like the Carnage, the alien blobby thing that gets, okay. He's not bulletproof. Like Superman, if you got a clear shot at him and he didn't dodge it, it would pierce him like a human being. He's not bulletproof. The other thing that's interesting is his, the radiation from the spider weakened his immune system. So another weakness is is the common cold. He just gets sick a lot. Yes, sir?
Cause like in the newer movies or whatever, it was like the spider web didn't come out, like it wasn't like genetic or whatever.
Right.
He made it or whatever.
Yeah.
So that wasn't like a superpower of him. He just made that.
Right. He used his superpowers with it, right? But he didn't make webbing. In the comics, Venom did make webbing. In the comics, Venom did. And it wasn't just the symbiote, it was actual webbing in the comics, which was kind of an odd thing. But yeah, in the Tobey Maguire, he does it organically, which is, I don't hate it now, but at first I was really upset about it.
I actually really didn't like it when he got the web shooters that he made, because I thought it was a lot cooler for it to be organic, like it was like something like it was attached to his body.
Right.
So he'd never like go without his web shooters.
I got you, right on. In the comics, what Stanley was trying to do, he was trying to promote intelligence. That's why he did it, because he used his like scientific young mind to create those. That's why he did it that way. But it does make more sense that it'd be organic, because a spider makes it organically. Pop quiz, what does a spider do with his web after he's done with it? Does anyone know?
He reuses it.
How does he reuse it? What does he do? What does he physically do with it?
Eats it.
He eats it, very good.
I didn't even know.
That's worth a piece of candy right there. That's worth a piece of candy. Very good. I deem what's worth a piece of candy. I don't want to hear any complaints. I don't even know what I grabbed. There you go. Okay, here we go. Where I'm at. So weakened immune system because of the radiation. Also, like Superman, relationships. That's why Superman, that's why Batman, that's why Spider-Man, until the comics in Civil War, he didn't reveal himself. His identity was made a secret because he didn't want his relationships to be at risk. But of course, the bad guys always seem to find out, and then they use it against him. We see that right in the first movie. We saw it through the comics. We see it in the latest movies. Yes, sir?
With the rhino?
With the rhino?
Yeah, the metal.
Did he know like his relation? I don't remember. Did he know his like? But like Green Goblin definitely did.
Green Goblin,
you know, Venom definitely does. You know, stuff like that.
Green Goblin used that against him.
Right in the first movie, which happened in the comics 1,000 times. You know. So. All right, very good. Okay. Is everybody writing? Here we go. Lessons we can learn from Spider-Man. Lessons we can learn from Spider-Man. As Peter Parker, he did not ask for superpowers. He didn't put himself in harm's way intentionally. He didn't want or try to get these superpowers. And frankly, he was not ready for them. He was not ready for them. If you think about someone else, you think about someone like Bruce Wayne, you know, as Batman, right? So think about maybe a seasoned Batman. He's maybe 35 years old. He knows all the fighting styles. I mean, he's been beating bad guys to a pulp. You know, he knows. And then if he were to inherit spider-like powers, how powerful he would have been. But Peter Parker was just a kid. He was just a teenager. He was not ready for these powers. He was just trying to get through life. Whether it was in the comics, whatever he was doing in the movies, he was doing photography during that field trip thing. He was just trying to get through high school. He was dealing with life. He was trying to get through just homework and girls. And also, he was dealing with a couple significant internal pains. I'll get to you in just a second, Logan. A couple pains that Peter Parker was dealing with. One was his mom and dad are nowhere to be found. In the comics, it's not explained. All we know in the comics is that he lived with his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. So he was like a foster kid, I guess you could say. He lived with his aunt and uncle. So he had a pain of not knowing who his parents were. And in the comics and the movies, sometimes they try to delve into that, like where were his parents, what was going on with that sort of thing. But so he had that pain of not knowing who his mom and dad were, but then also he had the pain of his Uncle Ben suddenly what? Dying. And we see even in the comics, and they do a good job in the movies, he was the one that let the bad guy go, and he's the one that killed his Uncle Ben. So also he's dealing with this weight of this guilt of saying, I could have stopped the bad guy. And what's fun is, when that happened, he had his superpowers. He had his Spider-Man powers, so he could have easily stopped the bad guy. Logan, you had something?
Yeah, so you were talking about he had the powers and everything. He didn't like want the powers and stuff.
We didn't ask for him.
He didn't ask for them.
Yeah.
Technically, he did because he had this liquid he could have drank to get rid of the powers and stuff, but he never drank it.
Was that one of the comics?
That was the movie.
It was in the movie? Oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah, maybe in one of the universes that's possible. Yes, sir?
It was like a cartoon.
Oh, I got you.
Like, I didn't really understand, like, when I watched the movie when I was younger, I really didn't understand why he would let him go, the bad guys go. But then again, I also remember that the dude that was paying him for the fight didn't hit him full.
Right. So he was mad.
He was mad at the dude, and the dude wanted to stop that.
Right.
You know.
To get back at that guy for cheating him, he let him go.
Yeah.
Unprocessed pain always does what? Produces what?
More pain.
Poor or behavior. Right, decisions or behavior. And so all of a sudden he had this unprocessed pain, led to a bad decision, which then he didn't know that the guy was going to kill his uncle, but it was a bad decision. Yes, sir?
His aunt and his uncle or whatever, they really looked old in one of the movies. They looked like they could be
Or like his grandparents or whatever? Yeah, I don't know but you know, they're right. It was in the first ones, right? They did look pretty old. And doesn't his Aunt May get younger with every movie that comes out? Isn't that what happens, I guess? Yeah.
I just don't know that I didn't understand.
I don't know. It's just different universes.
I got a question.
Yes, sir?
So you just be binge watching Spider-Man?
I've seen the movies, but I didn't watch them for this.
So
Again.
have you seen all the Marvel movies?
I haven't seen Captain Marvel.
As a boring,
That's what I hear. That's why I haven't watched it. And I haven't seen, there's another boring one. What's another bad one? But, I mean, I've seen most of them, I think. Yeah. I think I saw that once. And there's a train scene at the end, right? Yeah, I've seen that one, but a long time ago. Okay, where are we at here? So Peter Parker, he was just trying to get through life. He was just trying to get through high school, dealing with pain. Doesn't know where his parents are. The death of his Uncle Ben, and then the guilt, knowing that he could have stopped the bad guy that killed his Uncle Ben. He didn't train like Batman. He didn't get prepped and ready. It was just thrust upon him. Question for you. I want to see what you guys think. Was it a good thing? Was it a good thing that Peter Parker got the powers that he did? What do you think, Isaiah?
Yes.
Yes? Why?
Because I think it was probably destiny that he got those powers.
Okay.
And when he got those powers, he was no longer like a victim.
Okay.
His surroundings. Because before that, he was always like being like he seemed a lot more like a victim before he had powers to help other people.
Yeah,
And he chose to do that.
I would say that's true. Yeah, yeah. JJ, what do you think? Was it a good thing or a bad thing that he got his powers?
It's a good thing.
Good thing?
If someone else got his powers, they wouldn't die in detention. Like,
Right?
you know, people need power.
Yeah.
Rich, like getting rich fast. You know?
Right? So like if someone else would have gotten those powers that had ill intent, it could have been real bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Logan?
I think the reason why he turned good though was like you said.
I think that's a big part of it, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Nick? You think it was bad? Why do you think it was bad?
Because he could have like drinking syrup and been normal.
Yeah? But he chose not to? Yeah? Do you think it was bad that he had the powers?
Yeah, I'd rather be normal
Okay.
and not like go to jail for something I didn't do.
Okay. Do you think Spider-Man is going to go to jail? Yeah. He is a vigilante, and that is illegal. Tyler?
I say it was good because, like, take the Green Goblin, for example. If Green Goblin would have gotten the powers, he would have realized that it was bad.
Right. And what's funny is, oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
But
off.
then when Spider-Man got it, either way, Green Goblin was like his weird, like, I don't know how to call it, gas.
Yeah, you know what that was? That was a early form of the super soldier serum that Captain America became Captain America. It was, or another form of it or something. That's what that was.
It was another
Yeah.
form of it because he had like all the Captain America, like,
Yeah,
but it was his mind.
right. Because Green Goblin, yeah, he did go nuts from it, but Captain America did not. Okay. All right, let me move on here. Let's see here. So, was it a good thing or not? Well, it just kind of depends on how you look at it. And I'm glad that at least one of you said that it could have been a bad thing. I'm not saying it was good or bad. I'm just saying it's something to contemplate. In one sense, having powers like that, it would be fun. It'd be cool. It'd be neat to be able to do stuff that other people can't. It'd be neat to have those kind of powers to do good and even to protect people and that sort of thing, which is what Peter Parker decided to do. In the other sense, there would be some real drawbacks as well. There are people in this world who have power. There's people in this world who have more power, you could say, than maybe we do. Could be money, could be position, could be influence, prestige, whatever you want to say. And oftentimes, these people, they do not talk about how it made their lives easier. In fact, oftentimes, the wealthy report that their lives are harder. Which, you know, might not make a lot of sense to someone who maybe has never been wealthy. But basically what this is when there's more, Logan was kind of getting at it, when there's more power, whether that's through money or influence or spider-like powers, when there's more power, there's also coupled with it more what? Responsibility.
Say that again.
We're gonna do that. That's the next lesson. With more power comes more responsibility. Yeah, that's what Uncle Ben said. Yeah. We'll get that. With any increased power, and this is with you guys, this is with me, this is with staff here. Any increased power, I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be spider-like powers. I don't think you're going to climb walls or fly like Superman, but you will have gained power. It could be intelligence, it could be experience, it could be skills, and you're going to gain more power, so to speak. And right along with that comes more responsibility. If you say no to the responsibility, you'll either do a couple things. You'll waste the power that you have, and the world won't see what kind of influence you could have on this world, or you'll lose your purpose. And a man who doesn't follow his purpose always becomes what, class? Starts with a D. Depressed. If you lose your purpose, guaranteed you get depressed. Guaranteed. So along with that, that was just an intro to lesson number one. Lesson number one is this: life thrusts life. Life is going to thrust life upon you. Life is going to bring things on you, good or bad, and you're going to have to decide what to do with it. That's exactly what Peter Parker did. He didn't ask for those powers. He didn't ask to become Spider-Man, but he got given an opportunity, increased power, and he said, okay, this is what I'm going to do with it now. And he chose to take that power and use it for good. Yes, JJ? I can't hear you. Say it again. Like behind me? Oh, that's okay. I'll wake it back up. Thank you, though. Sometimes when life thrusts life, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we have to choose what we're gonna do with it. It could be a situation, it could be a relationship, it could be getting in trouble, it could be getting out of trouble, it could be getting a good grade, it could be getting a bad grade. Sometimes when life thrusts life, sometimes some of it's in our control, some of it's always in our control, and sometimes it's not in our control at all. You kind of see that with Spider-Man and the whole death of Uncle Ben. Did he make Uncle Ben die? Well, not directly, but through his choices, in a way, he allowed it to happen. So sometimes we have complete control, sometimes something in the middle, kind of gray. We can just kind of move things in a direction. And other times we do have complete control, our reactions to things, what we choose to do with that power. Spider-Man didn't have to become good. But like what Logan said, he chose to listen to what Uncle Ben said, and he wanted to have responsibility matching that power, which is lesson number 2.
If you have power, you should use it for responsibilities.
So what's lesson number 2?
Yeah.
Good responsibility. Oh wait, no. That was the other one.
It's all right. We're going to do it right now. So lesson number 1 is life thrusts life. And there's 3 categories. Complete control, some control, no control. Okay?
What was it?
Lesson number 1 is life thrusts. You know what the word thrust means? Like throws. Life thrusts life. And there's 3 categories of that thrusting. Complete control, some control, no control. Okay? Lesson number 2 is exactly what Uncle Ben told Peter Parker. With great power comes great responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man's uncle, he understood the concept of this responsibility, and he taught it to young Peter Parker. Uncle Ben saw that people, including his nephew, have an impact on this world, that they have an influence on this world, or power, you could say. And the more influence or the more power you have, Uncle Ben would say, the more responsibility you have to use it for the betterment of the world. Here's what's really fun about that lesson. Uncle Ben never knew Peter had powers. He died before it came out. He never knew. So when Uncle Ben was telling Peter that lesson, Uncle Ben just saw his nephew, just saw a teenage kid in high school. And he said, you got power, you got influence, therefore you have a responsibility to use it for good. He didn't know he was Spider-Man. He didn't know he had powers, which I think that makes the lesson all the more powerful. Because then when Peter heard that lesson, he is who at this point? Spider-Man. So all of a sudden, this real life lesson for anybody in the world is applied to someone with actually great power, like spider-like powers. Yes, sir?
I can't remember if it was in a movie or a comic, but at one point, Uncle Ben was alive still, and Spider-Man just ripped onto a wall and walked, like being around the stairs.
I don't remember, sir.
I can't,
I don't remember. Sorry. Okay, I was gonna do something else, but I don't have time. That's okay. Okay, we're gonna stop right there. Maybe I'll do that. Does anyone have, can I borrow your pencil? Just real quick. I just got a. It's okay. I just got a mark in here is where I stopped. Thanks, sir. Okay. Okay. Just in case there is small groups. Evan, can you give these to any staff around? Thanks, sir. Okay, you guys ready to do the wheel?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hopefully it works.